Hello and welcome to the weekly Wraparound. Inducted is the name of the episode. We don't have Lucy Parrington as a guest, unfortunately, but she was on the graphic. Great photo there from Phil Taylor from last year's exhibition games. I am Gordon Goodenough, joined by Sean O'Connor and Eric Brook. First of all, Eric, the internet's all up and running again now.
All my ducks are in a row, JJ. Been working on that all afternoon.
Yep. And Sean O'Connor, how's life in Canberra?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, we had the exciting announcement today from on the news about the progression of the new rink.
Yeah. What's the update? Give us the article in short.
The article in short is that over the last year, everything has been really boring updates, so they've not said anything publicly. But they're nearing the stage of 75% design completion, which will then enable them to do their development application.
Yeah, fantastic.
So edging ever so much closer.
So one of the things they were blaming for, GG, was the trees.
Yeah.
There's been a change to tree laws, apparently.
There has. It's a lot stricter now than it was before.
Well, hopefully we'll see the Canberra Pirates enter into the AWIHL at some stage, or another team from Canberra. But this week, that would be exciting. This week we did see our first glimpse officially. The 6 games last season weren't recognised by the league, but this was an official league run game, exhibition game between the Melbourne Ducks and the Brisbane Lightning, and first away trip for the Melbourne Ducks as well, going up to Boondall. Any comments on
I'm sure it was
the
a
game?
Fantastic experience.
There's lots of puns I could ask if they flew north, and they did fly north. Normally they fly south.
Yeah,
the Ducks can fly north, and no, in all seriousness, they had a really good weekend. The scores may not necessarily reflect the closeness of the games, especially the Sunday game sort of blew out there a little bit towards the end. But there's a lot of familiar names that people who have been watching the A-Dub for a while will recognise. It would be so hard to get into the Melbourne Ice team, so there's so much talent down there in Victoria that a second team's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, totally. It's exciting to see. And yeah, I'm sure all the girls would have loved their first away trip together. Like, how much bonding happens in a team when you go on away trips?
Well, not only that,
yeah.
if you look down the list and you think about how many of those players have played together for the Melbourne Ice, how many of those players would play against each other in winter or play on the same team in winter? And so there's now a great opportunity if you're based in Melbourne. There's 2 Melbourne teams now. I saw on a sports desk on the mobile version that both of them were called Melbourne.
Yeah,
MEL, which was a little bit confusing. It's force of habit. You think of Melbourne in the A-Dub and you automatically think Melbourne Ice. That's going to take a little bit of time to think, there's more than one team in Melbourne.
And I mean that, the Mustangs also experienced that in the AA as well when they first came in. They initially couldn't even use Melbourne in their name. They had to wait to be allowed to use it, which is why they entered as the Mustangs Ice Hockey Club. So yeah, but eventually people get used to it.
We do have this little bit of inside info from Scott Gallagher. I'm sure connected to Neve Gallagher. Even more bonding when the flight home gets cancelled and they have to stay the night at the airport. Brutal. Thanks for the comment. If you've got a comment as well, feel free, drop it. Join in the show as well. But
have either of you guys ever been stuck in an airport before?
Yes.
Overnight?
Yeah, quite a few years ago at San Francisco, I was trying to get to San Luis Obispo, and I was originally going to go via Salt Lake City. I was leaving for Wagga Wagga, Washington. And so there were problems at the Wagga Wagga end, which meant that I didn't get to San Luis Obispo till the next day. So couldn't get a hotel. And so, yeah, like the girls, staying in the airport, not fun.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I've been
I
stuck in
did the
Frankfurt
Detroit.
before.
Yeah, I did Detroit Airport, so lots of fun there. Connecting flight to Toronto. Yeah, missed that one. So, but I thought just back to the Ducks. It took them a while last year in their 6 games to score a goal, and the rink erupted when they did. I'm gonna show this clip because that first game on the Saturday they play the Brisbane Lightning, and it's a familiar name to AWIHL fans, and we'll play the clip. Here's the Melbourne Ducks' first ever official exhibition game goal.
Not a lot of action so far, but here's a chance now for a breakaway. And it's in! The Ducks strike first.
The go-ahead goal.
Paige Cameron with the marker gets the takeaway and then takes it all the way down the other end of the ice for the score. And both games, 4-2 result on the Saturday, 5-2 result on the Sunday. It's a far cry from last year when they played the Melbourne Ice and were in the hole by double digits.
So this means if they keep improving at the same pace, GG, next year when they come into the league proper, they're going to start winning games.
I would say they'll win a game this season, in this induction campaign. I think they look good. Janelle Carson, they've got her as a goaltender, won the Joan McCowan Memorial Trophy last season with the Ice, and they've got Jade Davis-Tope as well as a backup. So like a good tandem, and that's what you want to build your team around traditionally. Boring NHL defense first head coaches. You build out from the net. Any particular thoughts on do you think how do you think Melbourne Ducks will go this season?
Well, first of all, there's a great deal of hockey genes in the Davis-Tope family, isn't there? If you think about all the Davis-Topes that are out there, but the Ducks can only improve from here. Obviously, next season when they're officially into the league, assuming that happens, of course, you have to put that little disclaimer on at the moment. I think it's 99.9% certain. But when you have players who maybe want to play for the Ducks but don't want to leave the Melbourne Ice at this point, or perhaps people move interstate for work and that sort of stuff. Steph Cochran's a classic example of that. And of course, they'll be able to get imports as well.
Yeah. Because each team has imports this year other than the Ducks, yeah?
Yeah, I think the Sirens just have the one this season, and then there's other teams. I think Perth and Inferno have 2 at the moment. Other teams have 3. Brisbane, I think, and Adelaide Rush. They've got 3 or 4. I think the Rush might have 4, but can only play 3 because they're still using the regulations from last season. And Melbourne Ice, Melbourne Ice have 3 or 4, but yeah, they'll play 3. But there's another player on the Melbourne Ducks who showed a bit of speed, and we've got a goal as well. Vicky Prosick. Check out the speed through the neutral zone on this one.
Carson up to the challenge. 5 seconds to go, and maybe an opportunity here on the break. Is it a goal? It is for the Ducks. Prosick on the break as the period ends.
They look so happy. Everyone loves goals. But she looked pretty good. That line with Paige, she was combining well with Paige Cameron, who was with the Melbourne Ice last season, and is going to get some good opportunity with the Melbourne Ducks.
Yeah, and that Saturday game was pretty close. Like, they were like back and forth, both teams, a few times there before eventually the full-time team ended up coming out a bit on top. But yeah, no, I think it was a very successful trip for the Ducks, and onwards and upwards.
I don't know how you went with shot plotting on the weekend, GG, but haven't talked about that yet. But on the Sunday game, I just finished watching the Sunday game this afternoon, and there seemed to be a lot of shots coming in and a lot of goals coming in from distance and a couple elevated as well, which isn't necessarily common in women's hockey. A lot of them go along the ground or pretty close to along the ice. But there were a couple that went bar down.
Yeah, we got some pretty goals, and we got some good deflected goals as well. I do have a couple of goals lined up from the Brisbane Lightning, just to show some love to the Brisbane Lightning, because they also put on a good performance to get a couple of wins, and they had a good crowd there too at Boondall for exhibition games. We've got one of the goals here is from Courtney Mahoney. And keep an eye out. It's tough to tell from the camera angle, but it almost looks like she one-hands this right at the end. But I might be mistaken. But yeah, check out this shorty from Mahoney.
No power play goals for the Ducks in this one. They'll have to withstand another one. There might be a chance here. Mahoney on the breakaway. Goal! Short-handed.
What a rush. That was just lightning quick.
Oh, I like what you did there, Sean. But she did definitely take a head off the stick there as the defender was approaching.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if she flipped it in still with just the one hand on the stick, or whether she's kind of her body is kind of hidden by the defender there who's back checking. But I thought it was a really nice goal, and we showed a goal last week from Sarah Dash to welcome her back to the AWIHL after having the season off last season. Kelly Costa, welcome back, Kelly Costa, captain of the Lightning. And here's a goal that she scored on the weekend.
That one's in, and it's home from distance. Costa, the captain, manages to get a shot on, and I reckon it was deflected a few times. That was a really tough one to track for Davis Tope, but the Lightning make it too.
I think there's a running theme about Kelly Costa's skates. If you are watching and you've got any inside info as to whether Kelly Costa has updated her skates or not, I think she's had those skates since the Kennedy administration. But it's great to see her back. She had an assist on the Tracy Hokett goal as well. Tracy Hokett scored digging one from in the crease, and it's nice to see some of these veterans for the Brisbane Lightning contributing.
The Tracy Hokett goal started in a similar sort of way, except in the one that we just saw, Kelly Costa from the blue line, but it was the same sort of thing, except Hokett was in front and managed to finish it off. Yeah,
a bit of a scramble. Bodies in front. We do have a comment from Scott Gallagher. Thank you on Mahoney. Mahoney was a continual threat. She's known to a lot of the players as she played for the Inferno in the Women's Pro League at IceHQ last season. It is great that IceHQ they run a good summer league there, or winter league for the women, summer league for the men. It's a good setup. But any final thoughts on Lightning and Ducks before we move on to the other series?
The Lightning have just got so much speed. Yes, they did lose both games against the Ice the previous week, and it was only one really bad period where the Ice were absolutely on fire on the Saturday, which inflated that scoreline. If that period didn't happen, and they had a couple of 2-1 losses, I did hear a comment which basically said that the Lightning are halfway through their season after playing it one weekend. That's certainly not the case. And I think that even though they didn't get any competition points that weekend and all the speed that the Lightning have got, that exhibition series against the Ducks came at a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting to see. I mean, it's you don't know how the results are going to fall in the AW. There's a lot of unexpected results, I reckon. So, yeah, they'll get some points, they'll get some wins, and they could be in for a good finals contention. Just depends.
And as we've said before, anybody can beat anybody on a certain day. And if we had to have a look at the Adelaide series, which we're about to do now, Adelaide and Perth, at one stage the ice was slanted in one direction, then the ice was slanted in the other direction, and then it was like the gravitron. It just seemed to go around and around and around, and where it would stop, nobody knows, especially that third period on Sunday.
Yeah, the scorekeepers were being kept very busy in that third period. But we'll have a look at some of the highlights from the Adelaide Rush and Perth Inferno. Of course, the two games we will bring up the scores in a little bit. But the first game on Saturday went 5-3 to the Inferno. And then on the Sunday, the Inferno still scored 5 goals, but they gave up 8 to the Adelaide Rush. And the shot count, if eSports Desk is to be trusted, places the shots well and truly in favour of the Adelaide Rush, and that certainly seemed to be the case. But the Inferno, they were outshot by the Sirens last weekend, but they managed to get a lot of shots in high danger areas and lots of rush chances, and we saw that a little bit as well over the weekend. But if you were going to code up an Adelaide Rush goal, I think the coaching staff would be pretty happy with this one. Take a look. Jamie Lunn gets the finish. It's caused by a turnover. The defense has possession of the puck, can't find a lane, and then the Rush just overwhelmed them. But we'll play the goal here. Jamie Lunn.
Shot from distance. That one's a little wide. McClellan flipped it back to her sister McClellan. But King, no, that's in. They worked hard on the crease and they managed to get one past King. An opening goal here for the Rush.
It's nice stuff.
I think if this season, when you can run a line like Kate Tahima, Nat Ayres, Caitlin Multhano, we're used to seeing that line. When you can add Tash Ferrier to a line with Jamie Lunn and Jordan Coolbeater, and then you've got other players who are in the mix as well, like offensively, like the Adelaide Rush, they're going to cause some problems for defenders trying to clear the zone this season once again, I think.
Yeah.
One player that I was impressed in indeed for the Rush was Aspen Cooper. I hadn't seen her before this game, and she had a really good series in defence and got herself a goal on the Sunday.
Yeah, she was brilliant. The other newcomer, Jordan Coolbeater, had a 5-point weekend. That's just a disclaimer. That's from us double checking the goals, so the stats might vary there a little bit on eSports Desk, but she had a really impressive weekend, and this is a goal from Jordan Coolbeater, and kind of what to expect. She's like a power forward with speed, goes straight to the net.
Cooper. Well in defence, sent it forward. Here's Coolbeater again, so quick. Coolbeater tries to get through that time and does. What a great goal.
That was such a nice goal.
And that was so chaotic. We had the drive-by shooting on Sasha King, which hasn't been easy to do. We had the little fall at the end. We had a bit of pushy-shovey. was all happening there in the corner.
Yeah, and Aspen Cooper starts the play by not panicking in the defensive zone, draws Elizabeth Scala towards her. There's three Inferno players in the offensive zone to the two Adelaide players, and then that starts, gets the puck up to Corbina, and Corbina just turns on the afterburners. Like, it's a pretty goal. Was a very pretty goal.
Highlight reel stuff.
Yeah. But this goal is one just to illustrate how the Inferno can, even if they're getting outshot, how they can transition quite quickly and burn you. Here's one of the three Sarah Salmon's goals from the weekend. We'll just play it now.
Henning put that on net. Here comes Salmons. Breakaway. Has Scala in support. Salmons tries to sneak it through it.
She really did have an outstanding weekend, Salmons.
Yeah. And you can see Michelle Clark-Crumpton just, as she receives the pass in the neutral zone, she just passes the puck to an area, knowing full well that no one's going to beat Sarah Salmons to that puck. Like, the speed on Salmons is unstoppable. Well, almost unstoppable, really.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of in soccer, Australia versus Japan, like 2 years ago, and they have a very quick winger, Japan, and he just knew that he could just run around the defense. The defense couldn't catch him. He just had to knock the ball past and just run around, and he would score.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same sort of thing, right?
She's just one of those sort of players that one minute she's got a little bit of space, and then she creates more space for herself and manages to squeeze in gaps that people really shouldn't be squeezing through. And as Sean said, she had a really great weekend. Team of the week would be really hard this week, boys. I know we haven't talked about it much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super difficult to pick.
I'm going to complicate
Because there's so
things
many
later.
goals, right? Like, there's like that series was just a goal fest.
Yeah, 21 goals, right, across 2 games. Yeah, it's pretty. If you like your goals, you had a good weekend.
I'm sure the goaltenders would say otherwise.
Yeah,
If you could only watch one period of A-Dub back from this weekend, the third period on Sunday between these two teams would have been the one to watch.
Yeah, it was goal for goal. The Inferno bookended it. But yeah, a 5-goal third period, 3 goals by the Inferno, 2 by the Rush, I think, or it might have been more. But yeah, it was pretty. There was one of the games where in the space of a minute on the clock there were 3 goals scored. Just ridiculous. I think this goal by Alyssa Blatchford is one of them. And when you talk about the Perth Inferno, obviously Sarah Salmons, Elizabeth Scala, Michelle Clark-Crumpton, Isla Malcolm, they're going to do lots of damage, but you want to see some secondary scoring as well. And Alyssa Blatchford, this is the Inferno getting some secondary scoring from Alyssa Blatchford.
Cuppa plays it in front, no one home. Now the Inferno through the neutral zone. And they score!
I love the delayed response from the commentator.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear Andrew back on the commentary this season. So he'll be doing some AWIHL commentary. But yeah, Alyssa Blatchford, that was quite a snipe to pick the far side there.
And that's the sort of secondary scoring that the Inferno need. Like, it's really hard to complain about the amount of goals that were scored in that weekend, especially. And somebody like Blatchford, I did see Noddle on the ice during that time as well. She's very experienced as well, so it would help the Inferno, because other teams might just think, oh well, if we shut down the top line, or the bottom lines aren't doing much. So it's a case of, okay, let's get our secondary scoring going.
Yeah, and I did talk to one of the Inferno coaches a couple of weeks ago in doing prep for commentary, and he mentioned that because I asked about Alyssa Blatchford because she's not on Elite Prospects. He said that she played high school hockey and then lacrosse, and then had to choose a pathway, and eventually she picked lacrosse. So she's from Canada, and then she's since moved across to Perth. She heard about the Inferno and jumped on board and started playing. And so yeah, it's a good find for the Inferno. If she can contribute, it looks like she's got a good shot on her. And it's if she can get some opportunities, I think the Inferno will be in a good spot.
Can we talk about the goal? I was going to say, can we talk about the goaltending situation for a minute? Because that was very interesting. The whole weekend, or the whole season, basically, in all 4 games, the Inferno have relied on Sasha King. And with the run that she was having, 2 shutouts in a row, it's very hard to argue that. But having said that, Adelaide, Emma Moonen made her debut on the Saturday, and Claudia Tom, she came back after a long time away from the top line AW in Adelaide and got the W on Sunday.
Yeah, I've been waiting for Vivian Vu to start because I had a chat with Thomas Boschman, one of the Inferno coaches, before the season, and he mentioned that getting Vivian Vu more ice time was going to be, that's what they were going to try to do and try to find us some time earlier in the season. But we've seen 4 games so far, and Sasha King has played every minute of them. So I've got no idea what to expect for the rest of the season. But I thought Emma Moonen was good. She was exposed quite a bit. Again, the opportunities that came her way from the Inferno were breakaways, pucks in the crease, etc. And good on Claudia Tom for getting a win. I think she last played in the AWIHL in 2016 or somewhere around there. So yes, it's a little while. So congrats to her for getting an AWIHL win as well.
Yeah, I think Eric, you've said quite a number of players this year have come back to the league after quite a number of years out.
Yeah, they have. There's quite a few, and this is one of the things about women's sport that often happens. Without putting too fine a point on it, there's a whole number of reasons why people leave, and then they come back, and they seem to come back better than when they left.
Well, I think often also I don't know necessarily if this is true of the AW, but I know it's of other women's sports too, but they tend to start younger in the top leagues than in men's, and therefore they will, play for a while, leave, and then come back when they're a little bit older.
Well, you only have to look at eligibility. You can be AW eligible when you're 14.
Yeah.
Right. And we have seen examples of that. There's a number of players that have done that and have come straight in, and you wouldn't if you didn't know, you wouldn't think that they were 14.
Yeah.
Because their skills are just that good.
And that's what you want to see. You want to see youngsters who are very skillful to get chances and get that experience.
So we will bring up the results and then the standings and the points leaders, etc., etc. So I'll just bring up the results.
Do you want me to do this?
There we go. There we go. It's all fixed. We're not covered by the graphic. Fantastic. So as we spoke about the split series, just a note on that between Adelaide Rush and the Perth Inferno. The Adelaide Rush lost all 4 games last season to the Inferno. So that win on Sunday was the first time they'd beaten them since February the 5th, 2023. So about 19 months, just over 19 months in between wins. So congrats to the Rush. And I think the Melbourne Ice will be pleased that was a split series, because those are probably going to be two competitors for the Claire Gower Memorial Shield as regular season premiers. And then, as we mentioned, the Ducks scored twice in each game, but come up just short. Brisbane Lightning a little bit too strong, 4-2 and 5-2. And that means the league standings. Who wants to take us through? Sean, take us through the league standings.
No problems. All right. So after this, week 2, round 2, we've got Perth Inferno on top on 8 points, 2 wins, 1 loss. Melbourne Ice still second, despite not playing on the weekend. Adelaide Rush have moved up to third on 3 points. Sydney Sirens in fourth on 1, and Brisbane Lightning yet to get a point on 0, but they did get 2 wins in the exhibition. So, it should be pretty close again next week for the next games.
And that's often the way that it happens, that you have one team that all of a sudden has played 4 games, and then you get the Sirens haven't played for a couple. They wouldn't have played for a couple of weeks. You know,
the way the ice hockey schedules always work here, it's always very lopsided, depending on who's played a lot of games and who's played not many, more so than probably some other sports. But yeah.
And then you have a look at the points leaders. Christina Julian, she had the weekend off, and she's still on equal first with 7 points, alongside Sarah Salmons and Elizabeth Scala, and 1 point behind her. Considering that she only played basically 1 shift of the home opener. Michelle Clark-Crompton all of a sudden has in basically 2 games 6 points. Thank you very much. And Jordan Kilbelder with 5 points from her excellent weekend as well.
Yep. And then this brings us to this weekend. What's on? Well, we've got It feels like the Old Firm. If you're, Celtic Rangers and the Old Firm, the El Clasico, Barcelona, Real Madrid, the AWIHL version's got to be Sydney Sirens, Melbourne Ice. The trophy, Jaron McCowan Memorial Trophy, has been shared between these two teams for a while now.
And the Ice don't have the newest ice in the league anymore.
No, the Macquarie Ice Rink. You'll be able to see the beautiful stickers and the great work of Renzo, the ice engineer there. They're making some good improvements. I think they're going to be improving the cooling units as well. That'll get an upgrade. Zamboni's either getting an upgrade or has gotten an upgrade. So excited to see the Macquarie Ice Rink.
That was awesome. I had no idea that was happening.
Yeah,
honestly, the whole thing has caught me by surprise. The whole upgrade to Macquarie Ice Rink,
mate. There'll be glass around there in no time. VIP boxes. I
must admit, the ice does look schmick. Like all those logos. It definitely is the most logoed ice now in Australia.
Yeah. I just hope, because I've noticed I don't think there's been an announcement, but Ice Hockey Australia has changed its logo on some of its social media, and they've got a brand new Ice Hockey Australia sticker on the ice, which is the old logo that we used to see.
Yeah, I did notice this too.
So you will see, we've got Peter Podlaha, Injected Ideas Photography. Renzo is a national treasure. Yeah, absolutely. I know, speaking to Jason Quisler before, he's like, whenever we have our games, we're only playing if Renzo is available. And I think it was Peter that got this excellent photo of Renzo last season in the AI with the not the fire, like the carbon monoxide, is it? The
CO2.
spray? Yeah, the CO2. Yeah.
Carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide is a rather different thing.
Oh yeah, that was Adelaide. Oh crap. So there you go. So the Melbourne Ice won all 4 games against the Sydney Sirens last season, but there were some close ones. I think in 3 of them, the Sirens were either tied or leading at points in the third period, and then there was one blowout game. Maybe it was only 2 actually. Just thinking back, but they had some barn burners. There was an 8-6 game that these 2 teams played in Melbourne, and 6-5 game to open the season last season. Who are you picking? Who's winning?
I'm going to go for the Sirens for the underdog story here.
Yeah, I reckon on your behalf, JJ, you'll go for Sirens as well because you like chaos.
I do
like
love
chaos if it happens, right? Like it'll be utter chaos. But we've got an 8:30 a.m. game on Sunday. Ooh, it's early.
Yeah. It's get your coffee, get down to the rink. I'm going to try to get to the rink on Sunday. I'll be behind the microphone on Saturday, for the games there. So should be a good contest. The Melbourne Ice, I've got to say they've got to be the favourites, right? Defending champions.
Absolutely.
The amount of goal scoring that they've got, the threats that they have, they're the championship favourites. Until someone proves otherwise. But the Sirens looked good against the Inferno. It's kind of like you kind of have to wait, I guess, until maybe the Christmas break before, so you can see some teams play each other and see, okay, are they really this strong? It takes a little bit to get a sense of where teams kind of fall.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at last year as well, like the Sirens really came home really strong towards the end of the season after a very slow rest of the season. So, yeah, and you just don't know what's going to happen here. It's like a derby. You said it before. It's like a derby, and you just can't predict what happens in a derby.
I was just thinking, Sean, how you were saying that 8:30 at Macquarie's early. That's puck drop time. That's not the time that players are getting to the ice to warm up, stretch, get in their gear. So they'll probably be there about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
And that means you're waking up at 5:30. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's hope that the Ice don't have any dramas getting back from the airport.
But saying that means GG gets to have early morning brewskis.
Yeah. Well, it might be, mate, might be a bit too dusty for that, but we'll see. We'll see.
You're not commentating on Sunday, right?
No, not on Sunday. Not on Sunday.
You get to enjoy the hockey.
Yeah, I'm just going to enjoy myself. They're always good games between these 2 teams, and for the Sirens, their captain, of course, Stephanie Cochrane, after they won the championship in 2020, went across to Melbourne, and then Shana Godfrey joined her last season after winning the cup with Sydney in 2022. So Shana Godfrey has won 3 Joan McCowan Memorial Cups in a row. And it
is kind of those switches which really shifted Melbourne Ice again to being a team with a lot of depth and sort of in the box seats for the championships. Yeah.
But I'm predicting, this is going to be controversial, I'm predicting two lower scoring games. I think Michaela and Kayla Best and Ella Lakari and Naoka Wellard, they performed really well, I think, in week 1. I was impressed with the 4 of them. So I know that both teams have offensive weapons, but
I'm all for defenders and tenders being the heroes of the day.
I'm going 7.5. I'm taking the under 7.5 goals scored in each game, and watch as Saturday they make a mockery and it's an 11-9.
You say this. I still remember the AI when the Brave lost to the Ice 10-9 or something like this. You score 9 goals, you don't expect to ever lose, right?
Well, that was exactly what happened to the Inferno when they joined the league, and their first assignment was against the Sirens at their home opener at Liverpool, and I think they scored 9 goals, the Inferno, and still lost.
Yeah.
So let us know your predictions. Make sure you vote for the 3 stars from last week. We will get that out as soon as we as soon as hopefully at the end of the week, and hopefully we'll have access to photos as well from the games on the weekend. Final words of wisdom before we say goodbye and see you later.
I'm looking forward to seeing your stats, what you managed to pull out for Mad Starter this week, GG.
Yeah, and I really want to see some graphs back, GG. You produced some like fantastic graphs before.
Which graphs?
The ones you shared in the Slack. They're great.
Okay.
I want to see at least one of those in your Mad Starter article. I reckon that'll be brilliant.
Yeah, it's just finding time. But yeah, I'm gonna get onto that. I'm looking forward to your From Behind the Glass article as well, Eric. To hear your thoughts on last weekend.
You'll be having that in your hot little hands tomorrow, GG. So some pre-game reading for the weekend.
Perfect. Great. As
if GG doesn't have enough to do.
Just trying to keep my family together, mate. It's like a time vortex, hockey. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it's just like whenever there's always something that takes my attention, and I'm like, this would be really good to work on. And
look, I've still got articles which I've half written from like the AI season that I still haven't finished writing.
Yeah, it happens.
It's rather interesting too, GG, that there's only 2 games this weekend. It's just the way that the schedule goes.
Yeah, so it will be kind of a quiet week and probably a short episode next week, right?
No excuses for nobody not to watch the 2 games.
100%.
Yeah.
Different times, different days. There's no overlap.
So we'll hopefully have a guest on, so you don't just need to see our faces. Although it's been great spending time breaking down the week's action and looking forward to next weekend with you both. We are Hockey Hype Australia. This is the weekly wraparound. You can find us at www.hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au, on the socials at hockeyhypeaus. You can watch a replay of the show on YouTube or Facebook. You can also watch on LinkedIn, I believe. You can have the replay capability. You can download us in podcast form on iHeartRadio, Spotify Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you for your support and your comments and feedback. Enjoy the weekend of hockey. We will see you this time next weekend. On behalf of Eric Brook, Sean O'Connor, I'm Gordon Goodenough. We will see you later.
Bye.